Welcome to the Sports Betting Preview Show, a pregame.com podcast. I'm your host, Marco D'Angelo, joined with Vegas Runner. Each and every week, we break down the big games for you. We're going to get things started with a Saturday NBA playoff game. It is the Boston Celtics at the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Second round, baby.
Second round, game one. Vegas Runner, tell us what we got here.
We have a pretty high series price, number one. Cleveland's installed as a minus 400 favorite. I've seen even higher out there with a take back at around plus 360. So they're a dominant favorite in this one against the Celtics for a second round matchup. For game one, at home, Cleveland opened up minus 7.5 with a total of 193. As of today, Cleveland's minus 7, and the totals dropped down to 191.5. Now, the dip to 7 could be a little words with, we're hearing LeBron's not 100% again. Now it's the elbow they're complaining about, even as far as listed as probable for Saturday. He's going to play. He's totally fine. But whenever a big star like that, even here he has a cold, you're going to see a little bit of an adjustment made just because of that.
It's precaution, and they got to do it to protect themselves. This is an interesting series to me. And
it really is.
I'm going to actually have a free pick for you guys in this one. This will be my free pick for this week. The Cavs and the Celtics both took care of business.
Sure.
But you had a situation where the Cavs were a number 1 seed playing a number 8 seed that had to go to the final day of regulation
just to get in.
Just to get in, okay? They took care of business 4 out of 5.
They played with heart, Chicago. I'll give them that. If they had any type of experience and knew how to manage the game, I don't even think that the coaching was capable of managing the game correctly yet in that atmosphere. I think they might have been able to stretch it to 6 games possibly.
Chicago really only had one truly dominant performance in the 5, and that was Game 4 in Chicago after the Bulls took it to them in Game 3. It was like the wake-up call. But then once again, the Cavs returned home after just totally blowing out Chicago, returns back to Cleveland, and they had to go to a nail-biter and win by 2.
Win by 2.
We actually had LeBron shoot a left-handed foul shot at the end of the game because of the sore elbow. This is a situation that I've seen time and time again with the Cavs. They have a tendency to play to the level of the competition.
And when they're not hyped for a game, when you don't see them high-fiving and celebrating, they're not into it. It just seems like they think they have enough talent that all they have to do is show up, and somehow down the stretch, as long as the game's close, they're going to pull it out. Even though they can't hit free throws to save their lives, they still believe somehow, some way, they have LeBron, the best player in basketball, and they're going to come away with the win.
Well, again, look at the series. Which game did they have their best performance? The game after they were embarrassed. The game that Chicago outplayed them, made them look bad, was beating. Cleveland made a big run to make the game look respectable, but they were getting blown out in Chicago in Game 3.
Yeah.
So they came with a purpose in Game 4, and they played for the first time a full 4 quarters of basketball.
Yeah, and they win by 20-plus points.
Easily.
So.
Now you've got the Celtics coming in. The Celtics took care of business. They won theirs in 5 the same way, and they pretty much had their own way with Miami. And other than the last game in that series, I was pretty much right on with this series. I had big plays on the Celtics in the first 2. And what I pointed out about the Celtics and the Miami matchup, and I'm going to bring it up here because I think Boston looks better than they really are. And what I pointed out was Miami came into the playoffs as the hottest team.
And people were talking that like they really had a chance to give Boston some problems, and I didn't see it transpire on the court at all. Even the game that they won, Boston could have swept this series.
Right, being up 3-0, fourth game, nobody likes to get swept on their
own home. Yeah,
but what I pointed out in Game 1 and 2, when all of the hype was on the Miami side, the way they came in, what people weren't looking at is down the stretch. and it's an oddity with so many teams making the playoffs, Miami played like 9 straight games during that big winning streak against non-playoff
Yeah, I remember
teams.
you said that when we broke down the game last week. They came in hot, but against absolutely nobody.
It was a counterfeit hotness.
And in the NBA, everybody but like the worst makes the playoffs. Yeah,
So
you're absolutely right.
Boston comes in here. Now the roles are reversed. Now it's Boston coming into this series.
I know where this is leading.
Is the team that looks like, they can give the Cavs.
And
it's
7's a big number.
Right. And I think that it's just a misconception that Boston is as good as they looked against Miami simply because Miami wasn't as good as they looked coming in. I think Cleveland comes to play. 400 is a big price, and I never really justify laying any big numbers. But I don't want any part of Boston
plus 360, guys.
No part of it all. If you're going to play the series, it is Chicago or it's
Cleveland.
Nothing. I'm sorry. Yes, Cleveland. I don't see Boston having a chance in this series. And Game 1 with the line, I think the Cavs, because it is Game 1, and people are talking about the Celtics, that they can upset Cleveland. I think you're going to see a performance from the Cavs similar to what you saw last week in Chicago in Game 3.
This is your official play.
This is my official free play.
You like a double-digit win. I'll tell you the truth. It makes perfect sense about what you're saying, how Boston's coming in looking like a much better team than they possibly may be. The only thing that troubles me about the Cavs is, A, they can't hit free throws, and number 2, they depend too much on the three-pointer. And even though they're second in the NBA in three-point percentage, Boston's perimeter defense is one of the top in the NBA, so I think they're going to have to be able to do something else than just shoot from the outside. The only other thing I don't like about the Cavs is LeBron is just too much of that team. As much as they keep bringing him extra pieces, when you look at the stats, the bottom line is he leads the team in everything except rebounds, and that's Varejao, and even there he's close. But I mean assists, points, steals, he leads. That guy leads in every category. So, I mean, if you could shut him down, which no one's been able to do, obviously, that's why he's the best player in the NBA, that you have a good chance of beating this team. With that said, I like the way Game 1 sets up for you. And I think Boston might come in a little too happy, like a little too satisfied with their chests out, and Cleveland might have to slap them back into reality.
I think it is the statement game. Now, they've played 4 times this year, and they split the 4 games. But what I found was interesting is they were bookends. Boston won the first meeting, which happened to be opening night.
Right.
Now, if you remember, Cleveland, a lot of hype coming in.
Yeah.
I felt Cleveland was going to need some games to get the chemistry because they had new players. You're bringing in Shaq to this team, and in game situation, even though you go through the preseason, I thought that was an advantage to Boston in that first game. The 2 middle games that were played in February and March, when all the stakes were there.
What matters? Matters.
The 2 games in the middle of the season, Cleveland controlled both games, won both games, and then the 4th meeting was late in the season. Cleveland had everything wrapped up and was resting players. So I think Cleveland is the better team. I like Cleveland here in Game 1. And really, I don't lay 400 very often on any bets, but I tell you what, I think we talk about undervalue. I think the Cavs move on.
Even at -4. I agree. I mean, I'll tell you what, you know me. A lot of guys don't do it, but I'll lay 600. If I know I'm going to sit back and in a week I'm going to get 10% on my money,
absolutely,
paying me more than the bank is.
Well, that's our first segment. Official free pick from me. We'll have Vegas runners in another segment. We'll be looking at the Lakers in Oklahoma City. Also, go to pregame.tv. You can see all of our videos there. Give us your prediction on this game. If you get the correct score right on the money, $100 pregame dollars to use however you want, and you can always download and listen at iTunes. Just search for pregame.com. You'll find all of our podcasts. That's going to wrap up this segment. We'll be back with another big game preview.